Welcome to another Sinespace tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make minor adjustments to your animations for your sit poses for your furniture. Now, this is not the creation of an animation, it's just a minor animation of one that you may have already found. For example, I have here in my brown leather chair that you've seen in other furniture tutorials, I have my sit position. In the red leather chair, I've changed this position just slightly so that I have some variation in my sit poses. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Let me head over to my studio space that we are building, and I've added a duplicate of the brown leather chair, and I've used the same albedo texture, but I've created a new material and colored it red. And right now in this red leather chair, I have the same sit pose as in the brown leather chair. And that sit pose is this one right here. It's called Arms Out, Rest, Sit. You can name your animations anything you want to, of course, but this is what it looks like. In order to make this minor adjustment, there are a few things we need to do to set up our Unity editor so that once we start making adjustments, we don't have to continuously go back and forth. First thing that you'll do is to take the red leather chair and break the prefab, because any changes you make to it, if you accidentally hit apply, it's going to apply to, right now, the brown leather chair as well. So I want to make it its own prefab. Then what I need to do is I need to prepare the animation. Now this animation is one that comes in this package, so you don't have to import it and you don't have to extract it from the FBX or the prefab. It's just here and it's an anim file. First thing you need to do is to click on it and highlight it, and then press two keys on your keyboard, the Control key and the D as in dog key. You'll see your mouse move a little bit. Oh, it's duplicated for me twice. Well, that's okay, because I might need it more than once. So it will give you a number for the different duplicates. So I'm going to take the number 1, click on it slowly, and I'm going to call it hand on leg sit. Again, you can name this anything you want to. What is important, however, is that you do duplicate this. And again, it's the Control key and the D key in quick succession. D as in dog. And that duplicates just about anything that's in your project folders. Now, the next thing you need to do is to make sure that you can see, once you've got this highlight, that you can see this animation tab. And when you click on it, you see all sorts of very intimidating pieces of information. Don't worry about that for the moment. But if you can't find your animation tab anywhere, then just go up to Window and down to Animation, click that, and then this tab will come up and you can place it wherever it's comfortable. You'll need to be able to see these diamonds right here, which are called keys. So make sure that you give this enough space to see, and you'll see why when we get started. Now what I'm going to do for this particular task is one more thing. I'm going to move my inspector tab up here next to my hierarchy. That way I can pull this viewer up higher so I can see my avatar a little bit more clearly. You'll find that for the minor adjustments, even though they're minor, they're quite detailed. So you'll need to be able to see this little guy as clearly as possible. Then you'll also need to be able to see the hierarchy, because in the red leather chair here, you'll need to be able to see how this pose changes as you change it. Now you'll have noticed that my entire editor screen, the interface changes each time I click on something else, and it will happen that way. So your project file should have your animation folder ready to go. Then if you click the inspector, here he is again. You'll always need to zoom in and click the animation tab, and your animation will be ready for editing. All right, so I'm going to put a hand on his leg. Well, if we look at him, we'll notice that this elbow is kind of on the armrest already. So I think that probably the task with the least number of edits is going to be to take this arm and move it over here and rest it on this leg. So in order to do that, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to move this leg outward this way a little bit so that this arm doesn't have to come around quite as much, and then I'll pull the arm around. Now, one thing that people find very intimidating about the animation editor, which is the mechanism editor that comes with Unity, is that you can't just grab the hand and wiggle it around and pull it over here and rest it on the leg. That you can do in some other editors and some other programs, but not with the mechanism editor. It works by means of sliders. And if you look at my mouse, you'll see a slider and it disappears. And as you get close to the numbers, it disappears. And sometimes if you pull this out, if it has a really long name, it will help. But it doesn't give you any more room for this slider. So this is one thing that you have to be very precise about, is where you place your mouse. You can use the numbers, but oftentimes you don't know what number to use. And so I always start with the slider. Now, one more thing. Make sure that you duplicate your original animation, because if you don't and you mess it up, you've messed up your original animation. So two duplicates is not overdoing it. I have not overdone it at times, and I have really messed up a very nice animation in progress. Okay, so now the real intimidating part. What properties are we going to actually try to move? Well, let's look from behind him here. We're going to move this arm and this leg. This is his right arm, this is his right leg. So right away we know that we need to move down. Well, here's all the left arm, left leg, left hand, so we can go right by those. Here we're getting to something. And we're going to start actually with his right leg, because we'll see how far his leg will go, and that will determine how far his arm needs to go. Now, one other thing, why this is ordered in the way it is with all, all the right arm things are together, but then everything in the right, on the right side is all mixed up, and I don't know why. I've tried to reorder them, and you can't reorder them. You can't move them up and down. They are in this order, and so you're welcome to complain to me, because I complain a lot. All right, so we're going to start with his upper leg, and there are three properties that you get with the upper leg, the upper arm: front, back, in and out, and then twist. And I will just briefly show you what each one does. Right upper leg, front, back. You can see, okay, front moves it basically swinging your leg front and back. If you've ever taken any kind of dance, you'll see that that's what it does. Front and back. In and out is like so, in and out. And don't worry if you move it too much at first. Just click and drag. Play around with it till you get a little more used to it. And then when you think, oh, maybe that's about right there is where we're going to stop. And I'm just using the slider. I'm not using the numbers at all. And that's because, again, I don't really know where I'm going to end up with it. Now, the front, back, in and out, twisting will affect a lot of times they'll affect all the other muscles in the body. Now in this one, the front back isn't going to really work too well because all it's going to do is pull the knee up. What we need to do is to pull the ankle up and leave the knee alone. So we're going to use the twist. Again, don't worry, you won't hurt him. And then set that right there and let's see how that does. If it touches it, in fact, it goes into it a little bit, that's okay because that's natural. That's not exactly natural, however, that it rests way out here on your knee because I think your leg bone would start to hurt. So now what we need to do is we're going to go down to this lower leg and I'm going to go to the right lower leg. And if you look, you can see you have two properties, right lower leg stretch, right lower leg twist in and out. The stretch basically moves that leg like so, and you can see his whole body moves, so do pay attention to that when you are moving the different muscles of the body. Mechanism doesn't move the joints. It does what our human body does, and it contracts the muscle of the upper leg and pulls the lower leg around. Okay, so that's what you're doing there. Now just to show you what the twist does. The twist again contracts the sides of the muscles and twists the leg and the foot. I'm going to use Control Z and put that back where it was because I don't think we need to twist the leg. It looks pretty comfortable there. Okay, that looks pretty natural. All right. Now, you'll notice over here, I've got this white line at the beginning. This is the beginning keyframe. This is where especially when I adjust a pose, I like to always adjust it at the beginning of the animation. When you're done to a point where you'd like to test it, click on the very top key. Okay, this entire set of diamonds is a keyframe, and wherever you find a diamond or a key, that's where there is another keyframe. So we've got our keyframe at the beginning, which is keyframe 0, and you'll want to make sure that you get there by clicking these two arrows, which mean to go back to the beginning. Once you see that all of these are highlighted, which you know they are if you've clicked the top key, because that's the parent key of the group, then you go up here to Edit and Copy. What you're doing is you are copying these leg key positions, and we're going to paste them from the keys at the beginning of the animation to the keys at the end of the animation. One thing to note, and you'll remember this fairly quickly if you forget, is that your white line, okay, your cursor, I guess you could call it, that has to be on this keyframe that you want to paste into. Even if these diamonds are highlighted, if my white line is here, this is where the keys are going to paste into. So make sure that the keys that you want to paste into is where the line is. Now watch him. Let's see if he changes a little bit after I paste. Let's save the scene. You can always just save the scene and then it will save. So now he is in this position. His leg is a little bit out. So now we go up to our hierarchy and we're going to click on the brown chair sit first, and then I'm going to go up here to the gizmos. I'm going to click on Y, which gives me a top view, and I'm going to click on this PERSP, which is perspective. I'm going to make it ISO because ISO just basically gives you a clear top view, because what I want to do is I want to check and see if anything has changed One thing I forgot to do, which you'll definitely need to do, is here I am in my red chair position. I need to go into the inspector and I need to add my hand on leg sit and replace the arms out rest sit. So I just drag that in there and he'll disappear for a moment. Click this one and then click this one. And now if you go back and forth, you can see there's more room here than there is here. So we are going to go back into perspective. See how that changed there? And then we're going to go back to the front view, because now we're going to work on the arm. And then we're going to go again, make sure your animation is highlighted so that the Unity avatar appears and so that your animation appears. And we're all the way to the top of the animation properties. Click on this one. You don't have to do that because it's more important where your white line is. If your white line is at the beginning, then those are the keyframes you're going to change. Okay, now right arm. So we need to go down to the right arm. Oops, not the left foot. Right arm. And if we look at that arm, if you look at where your arm moves, if you're going to pull your arm around, up here at the shoulder is probably where we need to do it. And in fact, I think what we're going to do is, like a dancer, we're going to start with the shoulder, because movement always comes first from the core of the body, from the largest muscles first. So here we have right shoulder, and we have two properties. We have down, up, and we have front, back. And if you look at him, I think that shoulder's down pretty far. But let's just see. We're going to zoom into him a little bit more and see what happens when we do our shoulder. Down, up. There's up. There's down. Well, we can put him down a little bit more. And then turn him to the side. Shoulder, front, back. See how it moves the whole arm and the whole body. Now your shoulders don't come forward too much without looking really uncomfortable. So I think that's probably going to be enough, because a lot's going to happen when we move the upper arm. So let's find the arm. Now the upper arm is not called upper arm. It's just called the right arm. So let's move that. We've got three properties there again, just like the leg. Down, up, front, back, and twist. So what happens if we move it down and up? Well, let's look at the front here. We will need to move it down or up, so let's move the arm down a little. We don't know how far down, so we'll stop there. Front, back, moves it this way. You can see how it swings again, swinging front and back. Let's go this way and see. Swinging front and back. Okay. You see that again, the whole body moves with it, so that's something to keep in mind. So let's move it so that the hand is closer to the leg. Now it still looks very artificial, but we're not done yet. So twist. What does twist do? Ah, look at that. So let's twist so that we're going to get that bend so that it goes up and down. And if you can't tell, don't worry, you can always twist more. So now we find out that we're going to need to bring the arm a little bit closer to the front and probably down a little further. Let's see. Don't worry if his hand is in his knee, because what we are after is we're after for a natural look. We want his wrist a little bit closer to his leg. Because when you rest your arm, you don't really rest your arm, you rest your wrist. So let's bring that arm down a little bit more. Don't worry about where his hand is yet, but let's bring it there. In fact, we're going to bring it down just a little bit more in order that I can go down. Let's have a look here. Let's twist it out a little bit. That looks good. And I think we need to bring front back. Other way. There. Let's see that. Now I think we might have to bring it up a little bit. This is normal. It is very normal to have to do this back and forth and back and forth. Now there's a lot of tools out there that will help you do animations, but if you can't afford any of them and you're willing to take some time and just get used to this, you'll find that you can actually get rather fast at it. Okay, let's go down to what we call the forearm stretch. That's the forearm. And the stretch, you have two properties here, forearm stretch and forearm twist. Okay, the stretch, you will see, goes down and up. See how you can see now that the twist is a little bit too far to the side, I think. So we're going to go back up to the arm, and we're going to twist this way. And then we're going to move the arm up. Okay? You do need to have a pretty good grasp of your mouse buttons to do this too. And then we're going back to the forearm stretch, and we're going to go down so that it's a little bit bent at the elbow. Not too much. Now we're going to go to the forearm twist, and we're going to twist that just a little bit so it looks a little bit more natural. Don't worry about the hand yet. That's coming up right now. Right below the forearm twist is the hand down and up, and I know you will be much relieved when we bring that hand up and we put it on his leg. Now that doesn't look unnatural, but I think we still want to go up again to the arm, and we want to twist. There we go. Okay. It's still a little stiff. You notice how his arm, it's not quite relaxed. So we go to the arm and we bring it down, and then we go to the forearm stretch, bring it up, and now we're going to go to the forearm twist, go out, back up to the arm. I think we're going to do the front, back. Let's see what that does. A little bit. Okay. There we go. And then the hand, one more time, can go up. Now that's not completely natural, and I would actually probably curl those fingers a little bit, which you can find right down here. They all have 3 joints, and you can move them in and out, and you can curl them, but that's not bad. Let's see how that looks when we paste it in to the end keys. So all of these are highlighted. The white line is on top of those, so we know that they're all highlighted. We go up here to edit and copy. Click on end. Now we only have 2 keyframes, so it's going to go to the second keyframe as the end. I'm going to highlight those, edit, paste. Then up to save the scene. That seems to lock in the animation, and then let's see how he looks. Okay, he's not moving, which means we have correctly pasted the keys from the beginning of the animation to the end. We're going to stop that, go to our hierarchy, select our red chair. The red chair position hasn't changed there, so we can change that again. Sometimes you just have to go back and forth from one to the other. I don't know why, but there we have his position has changed. Now I'm going to go into play mode here very quickly, and I'm going to test out those positions with my avatar. Let's get him over here. Okay, here we are, and let's look for the hand. In the editor, you're not going to see the action tag, you'll see the hand. So let's have him sit down and see how he looks. Not too bad. There's his arm. We'll look at him from above there. There's his arm on his leg. Okay. Stand up and have him sit in this one. See the arm is out there? Yep, the arm is out in this one. And it's down in this one. You probably can't see that very well, but that's one way to test that it's done. And that's all there is to it. I hope this has helped you to be a little less afraid of the animation editor and try some of those animations. Get in there and feel free to break them. And don't worry about breaking them because you can always make another copy of the original. All right, that's it for now. See you later.